I should mention that I previously lived in a tiny town, but went to high school in a considerably larger city. I never had a reason or the nerve to go out in the city on my own, so when my two friends wanted to hang around town, I was nervous, to say the least. However, I thought, what the hell, I'll be with them. We had a blast for a couple of hours after school, with some small scary incidents along the way, including walking through a store full of expensive statues and gemstone with a massive backpack protruding from my back, and the original restaurant we wanted to go to was closed, forcing us to Subway. However, as it got dark, we all knew we had to go home, so we all enjoyed one last store and went on our separate way. I waited outside the store, alone, in the dark, not terribly afraid. Yet. I had told my mother where to find me, but she's hopeless with directions, so I had expected to be hanging around for a while. I noticed a news camera stationed outside the store, which made me feel even safer. But about 10 minutes into the wait, I was approached by two men. My memory is fuzzy, due to how freaked I was, but this is what I remember. "Hey, do you know where name of a town that I can't remember is?" I shook my head. I was already nervous because I'm a paranoid person on the best of days, and this was not turning out to be the best of days. "Oh, come on," one man coaxed. "Listen, we'll give you a bag of jewelry if you help us," the other man said. Now, I was genuinely freaking out. I glanced around and noticed the news camera and stepped a little closer to the line of sight of the lens. "Well, listen," I stammered, trying really hard not to stammer or show how freaked I was. "I think it's that way, and I don't need anything," I said, pointing in random-ass direction. They glanced in the direction of my finger. They glanced back. "Can you show us?" "Again, we have a bag of jewelry." It felt as if my heart leaped into my throat. "No, thank you, and my mom is coming to get me." I declined as calmly as I could. They stared at me for a few seconds, then nodded, thanking me, and heading off in the direction I pointed at. I kept well in the line of sight of the news camera until my mother picked me up. I didn't fully relax for a full week. I have absolutely no idea why they were so eager to give me that bag of jewelry. I have never felt comfortable in the city, alone, in the dark, ever since. When I was younger, I'd go visit my grandparents all the time. They lived in a one-floor house with an unfinished basement. I never liked it down there. It felt small for a big basement. There was a little door down there that was for storage, and I always got a horrible feeling when going close to it. And let me add that this was a newer house that was about 6 years. Now, during the time I was about 6 or 7, I felt so uncomfortable going down there. Even when I was with someone I didn't like it, I remember going down there with my grandma to help with something. She had to run upstairs because someone rang the doorbell. She said she would be right back, even though she knew how I felt about being alone down there. But I nodded and said okay. She was gone, and I was alone. And I started to get a bad feel in the pit of my stomach. I didn't move and didn't want to, even though the lights were on now. This is where everything started happening, and it still gives me chills. The lights started to flicker, and I started to hear noises and what sounded like talking, and it was not coming from upstairs, but in the storage room. I heard someone say, "My name here is the part that freaks me out the most." The voice sounded like my grandma. I was confused as hell. How am I hearing her when she is upstairs? I didn't want to move, but me being the curious one, I am. I started moving towards the storage room door. The closer I got worse. The bad feeling came. When I got to the door, the lights turned off in the basement. I wanted to run upstairs and hide. Go home somewhere that wasn't the basement. I heard my name again for the second time. My grandma's voice asking me to open the door to help her, so I did. And I regret it. I couldn't see anything. It was pitch black. I couldn't hear anything, but faint laughing that felt like forever. But then the laughing stopped, and the lights turned back on in the basement, and I felt a little bit better with the lights back on. But the downside, I could see a little in the storage room. I saw a small clown doll in the storage room, and my grandma hates clowns with a passion and wants nothing to do with them. So why is there a clown doll? I have no damn idea. Then the lights turned on in the storage room. I saw red that looked like blood all over the place. I screamed and blacked out. And the next thing I knew, I was laying on the couch, my grandma looking at me and asking if I was okay. I have no idea if that was real or a dream, but it sure as hell felt real. I was 16, and me and my friends, I'll call Evan and Jake, wanted to rent a hotel for the night since it was spring break. We got to the hotel and checked in. It had a really funky smell, but we still stayed there. Once we got to our room, it was about 3 p.m., so we decided to go swimming. The pool was downstairs, departed from the hotel. Once we got to the entrance, there was a man at least 6'3" in all black with a hood covering his face. Facing us, I panicked a little, but not out loud. We got into the pool and swam for a few hours until we saw that man again, all black, sitting on a chair by the pool. I cleared my throat. Can I help you, sir?" I asked. No response. I still was a little paranoid. I put my face in the water, and at the bottom of the pool was another figure that was all black. I screamed like a little girl and ran for the door. I looked back and saw nothing. Not the guy in the chair or the guy under the pool. My friends thought I was just seeing things, but I saw what I saw as clear as water. I didn't feel like swimming anymore, so I decided to get dinner at a nearby restaurant. I got a table for me and my friends to sit at, and there I saw once again the man all in black on the other side of the dining room and was staring at me. I have had enough. I went over there and I lost track of him and he took off. After we ate, I decided this trip has gone too far and we should leave tomorrow morning. But my friends didn't like that idea. Once it was 10:30, I and my friends dozed off in the hotel room. I woke up to some noises. I saw a shadow of a figure at the end of my bed. I calmed myself down and told myself that it was my hat that I put there before I went to bed. I went to bed and got woken up again 30 minutes later to more noises. I was getting thirsty, so I reached under the bed and tried to grab my water bottle, but I grabbed something and I was totally shocked by what I grabbed. It was my hat. I was not ever more scared in my life. I couldn't help but to scream at the top of my lungs when I heard a voice next to my ear say, "You're a bitch." I jumped out of bed and realized it was 2 men in black. Right there, I tried to fight them, but it was no use once they grabbed me and dragged me out of that room. I tried to scream, but that guy was covering my mouth. I passed out and woken up in a stretcher. It turned out those guys knifed me while I passed out, and someone caught them. But the doctor said no one could catch the guys who got me.